Sir, how you doing? Hey, this is Gray Fox.
And I'm Vixen.
And welcome to our Blade Show review.
Hangover.
Yeah, that is a pretty good. That is a pretty good word for it, actually. We just got back last night late. The trip for us from here to there was like what, 8 hours total?
It was 7.5 hours getting up there,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had stopped a couple times for food and whatnot.
Yep.
So a grand total of maybe 8 hours.
Yep.
On the way home, it took 9.5.
Yeah, it was raining the whole way back home. So we live in Sarasota, Florida, and the show was in Atlanta, Georgia. And what a fantastic show. So I've been to Blade Show before, but it's been many, 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 many years. This is Vixen's first show.
Yes, it was amazing. We knew to get up early to get in line on that first day, way early. And it was just so overwhelming to see how many people were there way, way, way before us. I mean, people were camped out. I was hearing that people were there as early as 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I suspect some of them were there even earlier than that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how it works essentially, for those of you who have never been to Blade Show, the first day they have this thing called Early Bird, where you can be in the first group to get in 2 hours prior to main access for everybody else, which is something that you have to pay for to get that additional ticket. However, that ticket is available to anybody who wants to buy it.
Right.
So I would imagine they make a small fortune off of that.
Right.
But
and a lot of the people there will actually do giveaways, for the first few, however many people show up at their booth, and they do sell out of whatever it is that they're giving away or giving a huge discount on way early. So if you happen to know that you desperately want something special from say Tops or Microtech, beeline there in that first group, because they will be out.
So Microtech was offering their nice out the front knives, OTF knives. They do that every year. Where they'll have like 1,100 of those knives that they offer for like $100.
Yeah.
Or $140, I think, something like that.
Right.
Well, and they're normally like $300-400 knives. I don't know why, but they are normally like $300, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll sell those out before anybody gets in there. They're sold out within that first early bird crowd. Right. In a hurry.
We got there about 20 minutes after that early thing started, and Microtech was already sold out.
They were already gone. So if you want something, you need to go directly to that booth and get it immediately.
Yeah, and get there hours and hours before they open the doors.
Right.
Because that line was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it snaked all the way around the building. It was just sick.
Yeah.
But it was cool. So how essentially day one is for the collector, the guy that has to have that knife or has to see that knife before anybody else, or you have so many like guild knife makers and specialist knife makers and American Bladesmith Society knife makers that make 1 or 2 knives that they're going to bring to the show and sell. If you want that knife, you better get in there and get it like post haste.
Right.
So otherwise you're just not going to get it. And then the larger knife makers will have that one knife that's super special that they're going to sell that you need to get there. Of course, for us, our initial was to get to Tops because Tops is my favorite knife maker, and they were doing that Fieldcraft, Bushcraft flip open knife, which they've been promising for years. So I wanted to get over there and check that out because they were selling it pre-production. We didn't know how many they made, we didn't know how much they were, but we wanted to get there at least to check it out and see.
Right.
Ultimately, I found that to be a mistake, and we should have went to Microtech first, but you live and learn. Yeah. Because we got to Tops and we saw that knife, we found out they only made 50 of them, and they were like $500 because they were all pre-production.
Right.
Which was out of my price range for one folding knife. So I wasn't going there for that.
Right, but we did get a couple things that they would have definitely later sold out on.
Right.
That we absolutely had to have.
Right.
So
just quickly.
I don't know that it was a mistake necessarily.
No, it wasn't a mistake, but I've been wanting this axe since they came out with it. This is the Viax, and this is one hell of a piece of steel. We will do more videos on this stuff and the individual knife companies, but this video is just to give kind of our impressions of Knife Show, right? But anyways, this is the Viax, which is just a sick piece of metal. I also got, of course I got this on Sunday, but this is their Bushcraft Global Brachimo, which is like a larger version of the Brothers of Bushcraft. And from them, I also got, well, you got that shirt, I got a shirt, we got patches, we got all sorts of stuff. But this is a neck knife, which is really cool, and this is the Mini Scandi MKS survival knife. So very cool knife. But yeah, so it's not like I didn't get my Tops knives that I wanted, I definitely did. But I wanted to get there to see if that early release was going to be something that I was interested in, because that is my, favorite company for survival type knives. Right. So anyways, so yeah, Tops was great. Do we want to talk about Tops a little bit?
Yeah. So we actually got to spend quite a bit of quality time with the guys at Tops. Craig and Leo. Fantastic guys, really down to earth and so much fun. They were really fantastic. And we'll definitely talk about them some more in the video about Tops specifically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But great guys. Leo, as far as I'm concerned, is a freaking genius. But I did do an interview with Craig, and that'll be up soonish. And we did talk about a lot of the different things that they're doing and coming out with, and where the company is headed and whatnot. So, but very awesome guys, very cool guys. But yeah, so that was our experience, short experience with Tops.
Right.
But then we went, everywhere and talked to everyone, and of course, we spent the majority of our time hanging out with
the Battle
Box crew, which is an experience all on its own. What a great group of people. They treated us like family. We ate with them, we drank with them, we hung out with them,
And in case anybody was wondering, according to Dan, I am really short and I smell like a fruit roll-up.
Yeah. And apparently a lot of my shirts have flags that are just way too big on the sleeve, so so there's that. But anyways, no, it was just a great experience all around with those guys.
Yeah.
What a great group of guys. So
Brandon Kern is absolutely the big goofball that he appears on camera.
Yeah, he is exactly how he appears. Exactly how he appears.
And it was awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. Very awesome. And then, we met some people that we didn't know from BattleBox, which was pretty cool. We met John.
Yeah, John and Patrick. And Daniel.
Yep, and D2. Daniel Part 2.
Yes.
Yep, who is the CFO, I think, right?
Something like that, he's the finance guy.
Yeah, he is the Excel spreadsheet guru extraordinaire. But he was a really cool guy, too. All of them were great. Patrick was cracking me up, so.
He was pretty funny.
He is pretty funny. But anyways, but that whole crew was great. Again, thank you guys for welcoming us and making us feel so welcome with your crew.
Yeah, and I don't think, the show was great by itself, but I think they really kind of made the show for me because they were just so much fun to hang out with.
They were fun to hang out with, and so genuine and generous at the same time, which was great. But anyways, so day 1 is for the collector and everybody that just has to get in there and see everything. Day 2 is for what I like to call the casual, right? And it's a crowd like you've never seen before. It is just amazing. It's everybody and their brother, and it is like back-to-back people, and there's no way you could possibly do any interviews or anything on that day because you just can't hear anything.
Yeah, it's extremely loud.
It's a loud roar.
Crowded.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to get around.
It's still fun, and they do a lot of raffles and giveaways and things like that. Essie gave a ton of stuff away,
right?
For raffles on Saturday, and they did it
on
Sunday
too.
But it's very, very crowded, and it's hard to kind of maneuver around. But after that first day of being there for so many hours, we got up late and didn't get there till 10 o'clock anyways.
Right.
And then it was already just slamming. But anyway, so Saturday is kind of the casual. Everybody and their brother kind of goes on Saturday.
Right.
All your locals plus all the people that traveled there are there for Saturday. And then Sunday is like
the wheel and deal.
The wheel and deal, because a lot of these companies don't want to bring their stuff back with them. Haul all that stuff back, so they'll give you awesome price breaks and really good deals and just fantastic. And it's so less crowded. It's like ghost town in comparison to Saturday. It's like easily 30% of what Saturday is.
Yes, I would say yes.
Somewhere around there. Especially as it gets closer to the afternoon and people start packing up and and they're ready to go. But we got some screaming deals on the other two tops knives because of that, and everything else. But it was just really, really cool for you to be able to see the whole experience.
Right. So if I was to assign one word to each day of the show, the first day I would call it overwhelming. Second day I would call crowded. And third day I would call hangover. Yeah,
it is definitely hangover day. It was hangover day.
It was. Some of the people, their energy was completely gone by day 3. They were just kind of like going through the motions, basically.
Right.
I mean, even Curran, I think, looked like he was ready to crash somewhere, find a corner somewhere, and just crawl up in a ball.
Yeah, Brandon was looking a little rough.
Yeah.
It's all good, though. It's all good. But anyway, so some of the highlights for us of the show were not necessarily the knives.
Yeah. Meeting some really, really cool people. Where do I start? Oh my goodness.
There's just so many.
Glen Tucker.
Oh my God. So, Glen Tucker, those of you who are not familiar with him, he designed the Cordovan and Cordovan Light, the Klecker stowaway tools. He's done so much stuff. He's such an inventive guy.
And he's so funny.
Oh my God. So it was him and Amanda, right?
Amanda, his COO. Yeah.
Right. And we actually sat down and drank with them and had a good time. And
hilarious. I can't even tell you which one's funnier, Glenn or Amanda. They're hilarious.
Yeah, they're both hilarious. But we were sitting and we were talking to, we were sitting with Dan and Curran and the BattleBox crew and people from Naked and Afraid.
Fully clothed, mind you.
Fully clothed. We're over, Black MacGyver was there for a while. AJ Schneider came over for a while. Tops came over, Craig and Leo.
Ontario Knife Company came over.
Ontario Knife Company came over. But anyways, just a ton of people came over. But Glenn and Amanda were sitting with us. And when Naked and Afraid came over, he referred to himself as a naked Teletubby, which was like... I couldn't take it. And the banter between Dan and Glenn was just priceless.
And Glenn and Amanda.
And Glenn and Amanda was just priceless.
And Dan and Amanda.
Yeah. Just the whole thing was just
so much
hilarious.
Fun.
So just a really, really great time with some really fun people. But I got to say, genuine people, Glenn and Amanda from Klecker Knives, you won't meet more genuine people than them. They were just down to earth, fantastic, funny, fun people.
And Rob and Kim from Exotech?
Yeah, Exotech. So Exotech, they make the fire starters, and they're making a brand new one, which he's going to send me to test out too. but they make these little fire starters and strikers, and they make a whole bunch of different fire starting materials and rods and whatnot.
Right.
But really, really cool products.
Yeah.
And I'll do a much larger review with Exotac products once they send me that other one to review.
Right. Also, really nice, genuine people.
Oh, really cool people.
And they sat and drank with us for a bit too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they were great.
They were very cool. So, yeah, but they were really, really cool people. Who else? Oh, Mike.
Oh, Mike from Bastian.
Mike from Bastian.
Yeah.
What a great guy. Just a tremendous guy. I believe he has a Russian heritage.
He does. He's originally from Russia.
And so, funny story, Vixen, of course, well, not of course, but was born in Ukraine, and so she speaks Russian. And so we were, Brandon and Daniel and us two were near Mike, and they always give Mike shit for being Russian, saying he's a spy.
Yeah.
And so they had
or Putin's son.
Putin's son or whatever. so they had Vixen go over there, like talking to him in Russian and stuff like that, and it was just a funny experience.
Yeah.
But that guy was great, and you know, this is a Bastian knife, one of the new ones. I believe this one is the Partisan blade, and this is like the lightest knife I've ever had in my hand. But it's carbon fiber and titanium with D2 steel. And it is just flippin' awesome.
What is it, like 2 ounces?
2 ounces, this knife. 2 ounces,
Amazing.
and super strong. But I'll do more of a review on this later. But talk about just a cool knife, you know. But anyways, and they've redone the Bastian, or the Brazos, and they've done a lot of stuff. And he's getting more towards the knife side of things. Their main business is on the gun parts side. You know, now they do the spinners and things like that, you know, and but the knife side of things they're doing more and more. But as far as, and I'll talk about this more later, but the best part of Bastian, as far as I'm concerned, is using the highest quality pieces and parts for like 1/3 the price that you could find it at a lot of the other places.
Right.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
So we went to the whole show. We walked through all the booths. We saw what everybody has to offer. Now, most of the stuff that we're going to be focused on, being as we are about making survival practical, is the companies that give you the best product for the best price, right?
Best bang for your buck.
Best bang for your buck. Exactly the way to say it. Perfect.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of where we focused. But like, for example, this Bastian knife here, if you were to buy this from a lot of the other manufacturers, you would pay between $500 and $600 for it, because oh my God, are the prices whack and crazy for some of these manufacturers that are making knives that look, I would say probably 50% of the manufacturers had a knife that looked exactly like the Bastian Brazo. Remember, because we were holding it up saying, man, this is just like the Brazo, just like the Brazo.
Right.
But they were like $500-600 for the same knife. Some of them not even made out of D2 steel or a nice, super nice steel. So it was like, oh my God, are they expensive? So our focus was not on those companies at all, right? Because it just wouldn't make sense for what we stand for to show you those knives. And speaking of a ridiculously affordable company, Gonzo.
I hope we're saying that right. Is it Gonzo?
I'm sure, I would imagine. Why else would you write it? Gonzo. Gonzo.
Gonzo.
And Gonzo was his name. Oh. So we'll see.
I'm going to go with Gonzo on that, but I could be mispronouncing it, and I apologize.
Yeah. So, interesting guy who happens to be from the Ukraine.
Yeah, so we couldn't get anywhere near the front, but we happened to walk past just enough to see something that caught our eye. And the sales guy that was out there working the booth, outside of the booth rather than behind the counter, was this cool guy from Ukraine who is not a citizen, doesn't live here. I guess he goes back and forth, he visits all the time, but he's from Ukraine. And so he and I got to talking, and yes, a little bit more of my Russian. My parents will be so proud. And he was just the coolest guy. But the funniest thing he said was that in Ukraine, people don't smile as much as Americans do.
He's like, people here, they say, like, when you look nice, they say, oh, you look nice. In Ukraine, they'd never say that. You know, so he was just a card, man.
He was so funny.
I mean, it's true, but it was just funny, you know, the way that he was saying it. And he's like, and people here, they smile. There, no.
It's nice. It's nice. Everybody smiles.
Yeah, I love this place. It just reminded me of like Coming to America or something.
Right.
I love America. So no, it was awesome, man. But anyway, so they make these really cool auto knives. I think they call it the Firebird. Yeah, I think it's called the Firebird. But anyways, I think all of us in the crowd, all of us in our group bought one of these because it was like, and I don't know if this was a show price, but either way, these were like $30. So I realized that they're made in China. There's no doubt in my mind. And I realized it's probably like 440 stainless, but it does hold an edge. But just a super nice looking gentleman's knife. And they make a lot of other knives that were just really cool. So I think Brandon and Dan and I and Scothew, which, by the way, we didn't even bring him up yet.
Oh, yeah.
So Scothew from the BattleBox forums and his significant other, Buffy, were with us for a good period of time. And you guys were a lot of fun. It was really cool hanging out with you guys. And we appreciate the time that you spent with us. And it was really cool taking you guys, or going out to dinner with you guys. So, awesome time.
Yes.
Awesome. But anyway, so back to Gonzo, whatever. But they make multi-tools, these auto knives, flippers, just a bunch of really cool products at dirt cheap prices.
Right.
And, you know, good spring, good everything, good clip, and just a really nice looking gentleman's knife for next to nothing.
Completely affordable.
Completely affordable. Absolutely. So yeah, so that was really cool. The guys at Ontario Knife Company.
Yeah, that was Matt and Andrew.
Matt and Andrew, yep. Matt and Andrew, they were really, really cool guys too.
Andrew came out and drank with us on the first night.
Yep. Yep, that was cool.
Yeah.
What we got from them is this knife called the Carter Prime. And I'll do more of a review on this, and I actually think I have Matt talking about it on camera. So I'll let you guys see that. But it's just a really cool sheep's foot titanium knife with good bearings. You know, it opens really easy. Just a really cool knife. But they had a lot of cool stuff. You know, Vixen's favorite knife, of course, being the Rat 3.
Yes.
You know, so they got a kick out of that. They thought that was fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So, but they were really, really cool guys.
Yeah.
And we had a good time with them too.
And I think you really had an awesome time with Mr. Cold Steel.
Oh yeah. So met the owner of Cold Steel while we were there. They didn't have a booth, but they were just walking around.
Yeah, on the first day.
Yeah, on the first day, which was pretty cool. So you know, I mean, I've been, you know, working with Cold Steel, and it was funny too because the guy that we work with while we're working with Cold Steel, Gene Ortega is the guy's name, and I had never met him. Just we talked back and forth via email, and so when I ran into the owner of Cold Steel, I was like, "Hi, you know, I'm you know, Gray Fox from Sly Fox Tactical. You know, I usually corresponding with Gene Ortega." He goes, "Oh, there's Gene right there." And Gene turned around. I was like, "Hey, Gene." And so it was just a pretty cool experience, you know? Yeah. And it was cool to meet him in person for the first time.
Right.
You know, versus, you know, phone or email or whatever. So
that
was really cool. I want to get through this next knife real quick before we get to part 2. So I want to talk about Utica.
Yes, Utica.
Yep.
So we also met with Mike at Utica.
Utica's new, I think it's the UTK B6. So they had some cool stuff there. But go ahead, talk about Mike.
So Mike, really great guy. We kept going back to him probably about 20 times.
Yeah.
But he was so fantastic, and he was so interested in our opinions and what we had to say.
Right.
So we'll definitely do another video just for Utica.
Absolutely. You know, the best and coolest part about the Utica thing, and I'm sure I'll talk about it more in the Utica video, but you know, he showed me a bunch of stuff that they're coming out with in the next year or so, because they're trying to be, I mean, they're well known in the cutlery world for making fine cutlery, but they're trying to branch out into the survival knife market and things like that. Like they're going to make a new really cool neck knife, and they have a couple of the different knives, like, you know, very similar to this one in different sizes. And he was asking me my opinion on them, and I was telling him, you know, what I liked and what I didn't like, and what I thought was useful and what I thought was not useful. And the whole time he's writing it down.
Yeah.
And he's like, the next time you see this knife, it'll be changed.
Well, that's so cool. I mean, I think that more knife manufacturers should kind of do that.
Oh, yeah.
They should make notes on, you know, what people like and don't like, you know, so that they make things so that they're appreciated more, you know, by the general public.
Yeah, I mean, like one of their knives, I believe it was the 3-inch. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was the 3-inch. But the choil was too small, you know, and so when you grab the choil, choil being, for those of you who don't know, let me grab this one so it's got a nice one. It's this section right here where you can get your finger in there to choke up on the knife, right? So your finger will go in there without cutting the blade. Well, the choil on that one was about half this size, and so when you went to put your finger in there, you were going to cut your finger on this point edge right here. And I told him, I said, look, this is unusable.
Well, it was the perfect size for me, but how many people have hands as small as mine? That's just not realistic. And there's no guy out there that has hands as small as mine. So it was, you know, pretty much not a usable choil.
Right. And so they, like, you know, kind of drew it out and made their notes, and they said, well, that's easy enough to do as we machine these, and the next time you see this knife, it'll have a different choil.
That's so cool.
You know, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. We walked past Southern Grind.
Yeah.
Several times.
Yeah.
And we just kind of glanced at their stuff, but deep down, I was looking for Zach Brown.
Who was there?
Who was there. And I think I walked past him about a dozen times before I realized I'm walking past Zach Brown.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
And
he was so incognito.
He was.
Yeah.
And I'm such a big fan of Zach Brown Band that I couldn't get myself to go over there and talk to him at all.
Right.
I turned into a fangirl.
Yeah, basically if you're wearing a black shirt with a flag on the sleeve and have a beard, you are gray man in that scenario, and nobody will basically recognize you because you look like everybody else in the crowd for the most part. I mean, it was just such a blending, you know, situation.
Yes.
But
lots of beards.
Lots of beards, lots of black shirts.
Yes. And actually quite a few kilts.
Yeah, there was quite a few kilts there. Surprising number of kilts, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was easily 24 people wearing kilts walking around.
Right, right.
You know, of various colors and patterns.
Yes.
But anyways, another cool thing, another cool company we ran into was EOS. It's EOS cases. And what made this company interesting was that I walked up there and I'm looking at this guy behind the counter, and I'm like, man, I recognize that guy.
Yeah, he looked really, really familiar to us, and we couldn't quite place where the heck.
And then Brandon looks at me. Brandon Kern from BattleBox looks at me and he says, "Dude, is it MTV?" And I'm like, "No."
It can't be MTV. We don't watch it.
Yeah, he goes, "I don't watch that." I go, "I don't watch that shit." And he's like, "I go, it's got to be a Discovery or History Channel. You know, that's the only way I would really know what it is, or one of those types of channels or shows." And then, you know, about 3 seconds later, he goes, "Orange County Choppers." You know, the
Jason, I believe.
Jason Pohl. That's what it was, Jason Pohl. So they're the designer that took all the shit from Orange County Choppers is with EOS, and so that was pretty interesting that we were able to meet him and all the stories he told us about his adventures with Orange County Choppers.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then We spent some time with Worksharp because they know that that's basically what I use for all my final edges, and we're able to get some nice stuff from them at a discount price.
Right.
And then another person, Pathfinder was, Pathfinder got to meet Dave Canterbury, which is something I wanted to do for a very, very long time. So that was really cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
He was so nice.
It was so nice, right?
Yeah.
So just a really cool, genuine guy. We met a bunch of YouTubers, you know, Prepared Mind 101 and
Black Scout.
Black Scout Survival. Jack from Black Scout Survival, what a cool guy. And I'm going to do a separate video on Black Scout Survival just because I have a lot to say about that guy.
And a special shout out to his lady Megan, who was really nice.
Megan was cool as hell.
Yeah.
Just a really cool lady.
Yeah.
You know, but just a real genuine guy. He was there on his birthday was Saturday, and so you know, to hang out.
Happy birthday again.
Yep, to hang out there on his birthday was really cool. But anyways, and like I said, I'll do a separate one on him. We got a bunch of gear and coins and handcuff keys, and you want to grab that water bottle? He's not even out with this water bottle yet. But we were able to get it from him. So just a really nice vacuum sealed water bottle with a flip up. And you can fit, I believe it's 24 ounces. So you can fit 2 ice cold beverages in here. And keep them cold. But this is really cool.
Yeah. So just real quick, just to run through some of the other really cool people that we met and talked to.
And don't want to forget.
Mantis Knives.
They were cool.
The guy there was really, really cool. Vulture. Battle Horse Knives had the coolest display.
Yeah.
So did Zombie Tools. Alabama Damascus. We stopped by there because we've actually used their Damascus.
Yeah, they have a huge booth, and they do a lot of not only blanks, but they do, you know, the sheet steel and sheet Damascus and everything else, and they had just a ton of stuff, which was cool.
Right. We mentioned Utica already, Tops, Bastian, Black Scout, Utica, SOG, Pathfinder, we mentioned EOS, Exotac, Worksharp,
Miller Brothers. Those guys at Miller Brothers are great. Now, mind you, everything they make I can't afford, but because it's just so custom and the steel is just ridiculously thick. And
really
everything
cool
else. And
stuff.
everything there is you know, everything there is handmade. Nothing's made by, you know, machine. It's all done by hand. But the guys there were just super cool.
Yeah.
Just really super nice. I mean, you know, I even told them up front, I said, look, I can't afford this stuff that you're selling. There's so many other things I want and need, you know.
Right.
If that was like the only thing I was buying, then maybe. But even then, it was pricey as hell.
Yeah.
But the guy was cool and showed me everything and was just super, super great guy.
And a special shout out to Tobin Nieto. He was one of the season 2 winners of Forged in Fire.
Yeah.
We were walking the tables and I saw him and I'm like, I know who that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got all excited, and he was so excited that I knew who he was.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it was awesome, and he had some cool stuff sitting there on the table.
Amazing.
Like that one with the cougar femur
handle, and then some normalized cactus handles, and just some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So he was barefoot too. He got tired of wearing shoes, so he just went barefoot the whole time.
I can't say I blame him.
Yeah, no, but he was so smitten that Vixen was into his stuff that he gave you a shirt.
Yeah, he gave me a shirt.
Yeah, and what's the name of his company? You have the shirts right here, so you can look. It's the next shirt down, I believe. Keep going, black one. There you go. Stonehaven. Yeah, so Stonehaven Knife Works, you know, and his stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
But then, who else did we meet?
And we met Doug Marcaida from Forged in Fire, one of the judges, the guy that says
it will kill you. So that was a lot of fun. We were walking outside the front door, and we saw him. Yeah,
he was out there taking pictures with people, and we were kind of fumbling, getting ready, you know, to try to take a picture. He's like, "I come to you."
Yeah, so he was leaving because he had to catch a plane, and I like held up my phone. And he's like, "I come to you. I have to catch a plane." And so he ran over and we snapped that picture. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Just he was a really nice guy too. The fact that he took the time out when he was trying to run out of there to make sure that he got his picture with us was pretty cool.
I know. Afterwards, we came up with all kinds of funny stuff that we could have said to him.
Yeah.
But, too late. He had a
I was gonna say, are you
flight.
flying United? Because it will kill. But I couldn't think of it fast enough. It just didn't work. But anyways, so I think this pretty much closes out part 1.
Yeah.
So stick around, check out part 2, and we'll come back with that. But thanks for watching, as always. Peace.
See ya. Stay foxy.
Stay foxy.
Ah!